should know better. I should know not to put stuff on the keyboard because it likes to click off when you push the space bar. Technical difficulties, I tell you. Alright, I'm just going to make sure that I actually open up the stream here. There we go. Okay. So let's set these, we'll set them back over here again. It's just that this is a way easier spot to actually reach the stuff. So. Alright, anyway, cute bunny bags. Super annoying that I killed off the stream, especially with viewers actually on there. Five, 10, 15, 15, 20. 20 left. That's not bad. We'll get there. Also now lost track of the time that I actually was supposed to be using to kind of see if I was even numbers or not. Oh well. Hi. Sorry. So I hit the space bar and it killed off the stream. I promise I will no longer be putting bags on the keyboard anymore. It's like, I'm gonna count the bags, and then I hit the space bar instead and killed the stream. It's awesome. But welcome back. I'm still here. Still have sewing to do, so. I like how this whole pile is basically just navy bunnies. And then one citrus bag in the back. It works. It's just funny. Alright. Alright. We are down to 20 bags to do, which is awesome. Sociopath, if you're the one of the ones that came back to watch again, how's your cat doing? 'Cause I did see that they had their tripod surgery today. Two navy bunnies. Three navy bunnies. There's a lot of navy bunnies. I think Paul only needs 3. But I think it was one of those situations where it's like, well, I may as well make all of them because I've got the back cut anyway, so. Bunnies on navy. Yeah, she only wants 3. Okay, good. I did go look for the micro cat in forest, or whatever it was, the like little cats in the yellow flower forest, and I could not find the fabric. I could not find the bag either, so I've taken that off the order. It's probably there somewhere because I know we double and triple check the cuts, but it's just like I don't know where it's gone. I really don't. It's not around the desk that they came out to or anything like that. So I'm still trying to like improve my systems for that sort of stuff. Like, let's not lose bags in between the cutting studio and the sewing studio. It's probably in the mess that's out here, but it's just like, for now, we'll just take it off the order. Hey, welcome back. we're working away on triangle pouch project bags. So if you knit, these are really good for like single skein projects, like fingering weights, single skein projects, socks, hats, mittens, like all, even little baby sweaters. It would be a little bit tight for an actual baby sweater, but like anything fingering weight, one skein. The shawlettes that were really popular a few years ago. And yes, you can fit your needles in here as well. The other thing I've heard it used for is like people will buy them and put all of their like yarn butterflies in it, or they'll color coordinate their like bag to the skein of yarn for their color work projects, and then put them all in like one of the big tote bags, which I thought was absolutely genius. Otherwise, they're really good for like just little stuff. So if you're a knitter, again, notions or like a light makeup bag sort of thing, they're all machine washable. And then I don't suggest machine drying, but I do suggest air drying. And you can like pop the corners out and it'll help it maintain its shape better for longer. So, and when they're finished, they'll look a little bit something like this. So that's why they're called a triangle pouch, because they look like a triangle. They're a lot of fun, and honestly, I'm very happy with how quickly they have come together. Because right now, something that's coming together quickly is definitely a benefit. Actually, with how quick these are coming together, we'll probably finish these tonight or tomorrow afternoon, and then we'll actually end up moving on to the Kato tomorrow night. As much as I said that I was going to keep that for Friday when I could dedicate more time, but that would make sense. Start them on like Thursday night. Or who knows, maybe we'll work on scrunchies and key fobs tomorrow night. Something will happen. I did find a lot of fabric that'll be really good for like the notions pouches that are fully notions pouches though, while I was getting key fobs and scrunchies prepped, so that's good. The banana cats are super adorable. They're also very bright on this fabric. They're like not super bright in person. Like they are and aren't, but the camera definitely picked up on the vibrancy of them there. For sure. Alright. So for anyone who's watching this stream later perhaps, I know I mentioned it in the stream this morning, but if you are in Canada, currently JTB is offering, well, even if you're not, if you can access Vancouver, British Columbia, and you want to go to Japan, JTB, which is a travel agency out of Japan with offices in Canada and internationally, so I think there's JTB offices like worldwide. But they're offering a flight out of Vancouver right now with taxes and everything in for $640 round trip from Vancouver to Tokyo, which I have never seen that low of price. I was like looking at like what it would cost to, I don't need to go right now, really. I don't need more fabric. I want to, but I can't justify the cost right now. Anyway, I was looking at it like I could use air miles points to book like a flight to Vancouver, and then you like, so you just pay the taxes on that flight. It would have been like, I think it does work out to being cheaper than buying like 2 round trip flights, my husband and I right now, and all 4 of us could go. But the problem is that the dates are very limited, so you'd have to go and like go and come back, and like yeah, just won't work out. We're also very much committed to going to Disney in January because we signed up for the Dopey Challenge. So it's like, you gotta go. if we weren't maybe quite that committed to that at this point, maybe we would actually consider changing plans. Alright, we are down to 10 more bags to top stitch, and then we'll be cutting the pull tabs for them and cutting, clipping, and sewing. So yeah, actually this is going to be the slowdown point, is putting the tabs in, but that's okay. We'll split up the two dark and light top stitching piles into whether we're going to use like a natural unbleached twill tape or if we're going to use a black twill tape pull tab. And then we'll get them all prepped to go. And then before bed tonight, I need to find the case for my earbuds so I can charge them, so I've got the ability to listen to an audiobook tomorrow. So at this point, with the energy level I have right now, we probably have about another hour worth of actually being able to work without making too many harsh mistakes. And then I'll be back on stream tomorrow night as well. Every night basically I'll be on to stream. Friday I will also be on to stream during the day, most of the day, because kiddos are at childcare. So now those ones will probably be less chatty of a stream, but you can always throw questions in the chat box. I'm more than happy to answer them by typing. I just like to save my voice for like tonight. And it seems like the ASMR ones are actually very popular, so I'm going to keep doing them in the afternoons. But yeah, obviously, if you ever have any questions, please feel free to throw them in the chat. I greatly appreciate it. This one's really cool too because it's like maps of train lines in Japan. So this is the Tokyo like JR line that goes around the city, and then the really cool thing about it is that like each of them has sites that I've been to in Japan itself. So up here is like Kyoto, Osaka is on here somewhere. At least part of Osaka is on here somewhere. Oh, that might have been a different kind. Oh no, it's like right in the middle on the back. You can't see it because it's on the fold, but yeah, like Osaka has a loop line with JR, and so it's like all the stops that, or not all the stops, but it's like the big sites you can see along the JR loop line in Osaka, and like the Shinkansen or the bullet train lines and all of that. It's a really cool print. I think I've used all of it up, but I used to have one that was like super bright as well, and it was really fun. The monochrome maps are pretty cool too, but I liked the really colorful one. Should have actually kept a bag made out of that for myself, but oh well. That's okay. 3, 4, 5. We're down to 6 more bags to top stitch. And then we'll go in and get the rest of the prep work done. This has been a super popular print. I think we're down to the last of it too. There's a couple key fobs in it. But basically the little like details on the birds are like hand embroidery that's been printed in the birds. So it's really cool, and there's like chain stitch and stuff like that. Yeah. This is one of like the OG fabrics, and I'm finally using up the last few pieces that are viable for me. next one. And through. So yeah, I was planning on actually doing scrunchies and key fobs tonight a little bit, just to give myself a break from bags. But everything needs to be ironed or pressed in some description. So that'll be something that I'll work on tomorrow. And then we'll work on them. I want to get the scrunchies done to the point of adding elastic in. Because then I can elastic them while my friend is here on Sunday helping turn bags. So basically we're working all the bags up to the point of turning right now, or birthing, whichever you prefer. Which means that they'll be inside out, and then we'll turn them so that they're right side out. Birthing the bag. So all the large box bags are currently at that stage. I'm going to take the triangle pouches up to that stage so they can be turned on the weekend as well. And any kato we finish will be sitting there waiting too. So we'll see how much we get done. I will either be helping her turn the bags, or I might actually take that opportunity to trim up and iron the knot bags, because they need a little bit of TLC before they go out into the world. And they also need to have their threads trimmed, so that would be a really good opportunity to do that. And tag them. I could actually throw tags on them, because I ordered them in enough time to be able to do that. Accidentally. There's always more work to do, so it's like I could pick from like a million different tasks for this Sunday. I'm not too worried about it. But having bags, like that's her designated job. So having bags for her to turn is key to that a successful craft help visit. Just hope it's nice weather, because it'd be nice to be able to sit out on the deck and do that, and the kids can play in the backyard then. Just about there. I was looking at the weather earlier, and of course, because I have Osaka and Kyoto on there, it's like 2 p.m. there right now. Tokyo, Osaka, and Kyoto, and they're all 30 degrees. I remember that in that first week of like exchange. I'm still in the first week reminiscence, so it's been 14 years since I went to Japan for my exchange, like right now. This would have been the first week, and the first week I was in Osaka, it was like 36. The thermometer I saw ended up telling me it was 36 degrees, with plus the humidity as well, and I was just like, no wonder I was dying. My mindset was like, oh, it'll be like Canada in September, like Western Canada in September, which moderate usually. Obviously, I've been wearing a sweatshirt all day, but like it's over a dress, so not like super cold, not super hot. That's not true of Japan. I had a plan. I actually did have a trip planned. The one that I took in May was supposed to happen in July last year with my friend, and like in the end of it all, I'm not that sad that we actually had to reschedule it, because like being in Japan in July is would be miserable, I think. Everyone like pre-shutdown, last one, was always asking if we were going to go to Japan for the Olympics, and I'm like, honestly, no. Well, probably not. If someone had given me tickets to go, I would have gone. It would have been cool, because the 2010 Olympics in Vancouver, so last time Canada hosted, happened while I was in Japan, so that was really cool, and it would have been a nice like kind of bookmark in between stuff for me. But I was just like, I don't want to be in Japan in July. That's the main detractor to that proposal. Can't imagine hosting some of those events. Those poor athletes. Alright. There is all the top stitching done. So now I'm going to split it into two piles. We're going to split it into a pile that's going to get black top thread. Or not top thread. We just did that. It's going to get either black ribbon, or it's going to get light unbleached ribbon. I am going to trim the top stitch threads as we go. just so that they're taken care of. Don't have to worry about them afterwards. And then these are like 2/3 of the way done. Alright, so I'll show you kind of what we're going to do. So this is going to be a black, am I very quiet? Because it's showing pretty good on my side, but I don't think I can go up any further. Let me see if my mic can be moved up towards me. Might help a bit. Oh, that's going to mean there. That should be better. So we're going to take this and we're actually going to turn it. It might have been noise dampening because of the sewing machine. Is that better? And then we'll take our ribbon that I'm going to cut and we're going to pop it in there at the bottom here. And then there'll be one that actually gets popped in up top here, well, so that you've got two ends to pull, so that's easier to open and close the actual zipper. Now usually I would put a very clever pressing seam in this and you would be able to like actually get, I'd be able to even it up. But that's not what's going to happen. Okay, sorry, I'm just checking to see if I can do anything to turn the actual, like, no, my external is as high as it can go, so what I'll do is I'll move it closer to me, because that's all I can do. Physical distancing. Alright, that actually works a little bit better, because now you can see what I'm doing on my lap with the actual bags here. That should have helped. Oh, wait, I can see on my end that the mic has gone up. Alright, so just grab some of the things that we actually end up needing. Okay, cool, that's good to know. This is a new mic, so we're still working around like details on it. I also don't want to burden anybody's like eardrums out with the sewing machine, so it's not the worst thing that's quiet when I'm actually sewing necessarily. Alright, now I did say that these are going to have to be a little bit different length. Thank you. Those, I am really glad that I did them last time. My husband actually, when I got home, suggested that what I should do next time is do a live stream while I'm there. So I think that that's what we will actually do. Now, right now, that's probably not going to end up happening until, like, well, I'm looking at probably 2025 right now. But we'll see. If the business stays as busy as it is right now, it's going to have to happen sooner. Okay, so I think this needs to be about 2.5 inch pieces for both of them. I think that'll work. Yeah, that looks about right. They can't be as long as they are for the large box bags because realistically the seam allowance is a little bit different on these guys and other various things. Okay, so I'm gonna actually finger press this one first. And then we're just going to, the other thing you can always do too, so if you sew, is like when you're trying to figure out where the center of something is, you can do a little bit of a clip out of the middle of the fabric, which in this case might actually work better, but whatever. Oh no, there we go, I got a good crease. So there, so that's going to center the fabric along here. We are going to trim down these zipper ends right here, like this. And then we're going to also trim the end on here. Do not clip on that metal bit because that will destroy your scissors instantly. Did I just throw it on the floor? 100%. Do I have a massive mess to tidy up after this and show prep? Yep, you bet. But anyway, we throw the ribbon in here like that. And then this is already going to be centered here. We're going to actually fold the zipper in because that gives it a nice, like, and that's the bag. So we're going to clip the zipper up here. I'm not too worried about this down here because honestly once you start sewing it, it's going to fold itself in on itself. This might be a little bit short for the top, but that's okay. Realistically, you don't need a lot of ribbon. It is just to help you open and close the zipper. Or you can throw a carabiner in there and then you can actually hook it to another bag if you wanted. That's usually why I put a second loop. There, and it's right there. And you clip it. And now what we'll do is we're going to sew along. We're going to go along and we're going to chain piece all of these across the bottom here. And then we're also going to actually be able to chain piece all of these along the back here. And we'll leave a turning seam like right about here. The other thing we're going to do is we're actually going to throw the label in that I use. And then I don't have to worry about putting it in later. So that's going to be tucked in. I eyeball this. I eyeball this. I say that like I don't eyeball pretty much everything I do. The only thing I really don't eyeball is like cutting the fabric, and even then, some days. So to streamline this process a little bit, I'm going to just trim down the, we're going to trim down all the threads as we go, but we're going to make 2 piles, and then I'll count up the bags, and then we'll just go through and cut all of the like black and then all of the natural color at the same time, because that's just the easier way to do it. So alright, we are not putting anything more on the keyboard, because that's how the stream dies, or how I kill the stream. Alright, these capybara bags are freaking adorable, but these guinea pigs are giving me life right now too. I know I say that a lot about a lot of these fabrics, but it's like I said earlier in the stream, it's like you go and you buy the fabric and then you don't really know what it's going to look like until you actually sew it up. You get a pretty good grasp, but it's not the same as seeing it done or close to being done. Alright, so those obviously are both going to get the dark tab. Well, you can't actually see that, but it'll get a black tab as well. Capybara fabric is the best, especially when they're in onsen. So I do have that in black as well upcoming. I restocked on it in May, and then I also have so I restocked on the blue, and then I picked it up in black as well. I'm pretty partial to this blue though. It's like a really good blue. So alright, there we go. Like I said, just trim these up. Actually, I probably don't need to trim those ones up because they're just going to get sewn into the seam. We'll make sure that we trim up around the zipper just so it doesn't actually warp the zipper after it's been like assembled. Alright, so these all are going to be dark. I just realized that all of the dark ones are behind the mic now. I should have pulled them out first, but hey, we can do it now. Alright, there is a lot here. Well, so many navy bunny bags. So many bunnies. Which is good, it's Year of the Bunny, so appropriate. Okay. Now in this case, I think the bunnies should actually go with the natural twill, even though they got... No, so the fabrics from May aren't on the site yet because I haven't gotten them sewn and iron or washed and ironed yet. So they will be after Knit City at this point, which is coming up way too fast. 2 more weeks. But you know, I've realized that May is not a good time to go if I want to actually incorporate the fabrics into anything before the fall. Although it was good for like selecting fabrics, because like normally I do go shop in November, but it was good to see fabrics that weren't like Christmas or the fall season fabrics, because their colors were a little bit different in May as well. Okay, we're good. So they're gonna get the natural twill. That doesn't need to go in with the bags, it needs to go here. There we go. So yeah, so it'll be hitting the like shop in Right now, I'm going to say that my production time is going to probably be about January, just because I've got another project to work on for the beginning of November, and then I'm hopefully going to be able to get into a couple more shows before Christmas, and then I am taking December off. Except to because I want to decorate the house for Christmas properly this year again, especially because the kids are starting to get older and recognize that. And then I want to really tidy and make the studio down here more efficient. So that's what we're going to work on. There's also a couple products to prototype, although I'm not going to spend too much time on them over the winter. I want to prototype a embroidery cross stitch project bag, and then I want to up the inventory that I have on the purses in the cotton linen blends and the cottons, and wallets actually is the big one, because I have a very limited selection of wallets in the cotton and cotton linen blends. And when I say limited, I mean one of each. There are currently 2 cotton linen blends. So those, at least I don't have to prototype those. I know it's very straightforward. It's just get it done sort of stuff. There we go. Now part of this will be going to Paula of Baaad Anna's. Her shop is located on Hastings Street in Vancouver. She's literally just down the road from the PNE Forum. And why I'm doing such a big push on this is because then she doesn't have to pay shipping, especially because this is going to be quite a large order. So then I can drop off / she can pick up from me at Knit City, which ends up working out very well. That is going to get a black one because the zipper color is a little bit weird. It's kind of a more blue gray, and then this would you would never see it once it's actually put in. Cats are back in town. On Dusty Pink, however, is going to get the ivory, I think. Should actually move that thread catcher a little bit closer. Yeah, I think ivory for this will look really good, whereas the black is too stark, because even the zipper is a warm brown, and then the rest of the cats aren't. There's no stark black here. So that will go here, and I'm going to move my thread catcher up a little bit, and this can move back a bit. There. And then you get inception of phone video. There we go. Alright. Trim it up, and we'll get all of this done hopefully. Just realized we're going to have to do this for the black as well, or the white thread. Capybara R, the blue is actually on I just realized, I think there should be a glasses case in the Capybara blue on the website available right now. And then that is going to be one of the top priority fabrics to get on the website after Knit City. I've had some really good capybaras in the past as well, Professor Capybara, there was bicycles and professor, round professor glasses. I think that's what I called it when I was putting it online, was Professor Capybara, because that's the vibe it gave, that's for sure. Kind of academia, I guess. That might be the better description. Also had exciting news out of Knit City is that they will be doing Knit City Calgary next year in August, which is super awesome. And it will be a biannual event. They'll be splitting it back and forth between Calgary and Vancouver, but for me, having that big a show in my backyard every other year is going to be amazing. Now I'm building a really good community outside of the knitting shows, actually, with Japanese vendor community, which is awesome. But it would be good to grow like two audiences for sure. And obviously knitters and crocheters are, and fiber artists are very near and dear to my heart, since that's where I got my start. So not going anywhere from that community. But it'll also be nice not to have to drive to Vancouver every single year for a show. It actually opens up our year significantly, not having to plan around Knit City to drive out every year at least. Because Dallas right now has to take vacation to go out, my husband, and but it actually eases it up a lot for us to not have to do that. So, and even better is that he is home for the Knit City Calgary next year, and so childcare is taken care of. And even if he wasn't, it would be very easy to get childcare that weekend, or at least easier than like overnighting for Vancouver. Alright, banana cats. I think it also needs a black ribbon. Okay, so I think where we're at right now, I'm going to distribute all the bags, trim up all these thread ends here right now. I'm looking at the time and trying to figure out when I should actually head out and go to bed. Because today my youngest and I had a 2.5 hour nap, and they were still very tired, and I am still very tired. So I think what I'll do is I'll wrap up on the task of like stacking, and then we're going to cut all of the ribbon for them. And then I think that's maybe where we'll end for tonight, because I can clip ribbons in off camera tomorrow, because that's kind of a boring step. We'll see how long this actually ends up taking though. So it's 11:15 right now. Maneki Nico are adorable. If there's any of these that you see that you like, you can always message me on Instagram, and I can direct you to whether it's going to be with me at Knit City or Paula with Baaad Anna's, and then we can figure out like how you're going to swoop on it. I'm more than happy to encourage the swooping, and I'm sure Paula won't have a very many objections about it either. This owl fabric is one of the OG fabrics from like 2016. Again, we're using up scraps. That was the original point of the triangle pouch, is using up the offcuts from knot bags. And so the majority of these, well, the ones for Paula were new cut, and that's fine. But oh yeah, I think this one also needs a natural tab. Natural or black? Well, yeah, the majority of the ones that are like going up in my shop are scrappy. I think black. Yeah, these are triangle pouches, so they'll be like this once we're done. So that's what you'll see on the front, and then the side profile of it. So we've already got the large box bags that are going to be going to Knit City done, except for the birthing. That'll happen this weekend when my friend comes out to help. The triangle pouches, as you see, I figure they're probably about halfway to 2/3 done. And then we have Kato bags to start sewing. Everything is cut except for the actual like leather handles. Sorry, the cats are making weird noises, so I just wanted to double check that everything was okay. Or okay enough. Yeah, we've got the kato left basically, and then all the closing seams for everything. So, given that we're 10, whatever, yeah, I'm leaving in 2 weeks, so I've got like 13 more days, 12 more days of sewing. Okay, Dahlia's got something, I don't know, it sounds plasticky. Yeah, 12 more days of sewing because the truck has to be packed on Tuesday night. But I'm feeling more confident than I was last week, that's for sure. Dallas basically took the kiddos for the whole week, so that helped a lot, and we're going to repeat that this week when he's back home, and that will help significantly in getting everything accomplished that I want. He asked last week how I was going. I'm like, but it's always going at this point before of show prep. Getting a lot done, but not feeling like you're getting any traction. But that's also why I've enjoyed coming and doing these streams, actually, because it's like mostly because it takes up my phone, and there's like very little chance of actually like surfing the internet and stuff like that. Obviously, I do check up on stuff. We've wandered through the internet together a little bit on these streams, but like it cuts down on the Instagram, just mindless scrolling and stuff like that. When I'm checking stuff on stream, it's like something that I've talked about that I want to tell people about. Mostly Wikipedia reading, like about the statue of David. And the fact that the frog fabric that I have is like, why frogs? They look so Japanese, but I don't know why. And I was like, what is it about the frogs? And then I went and looked it up because I was like, maybe it's the animal scroll, and then it totally turned out to be the scroll I was thinking about. There is also, if you go on to the YouTube channel, even if you're not a subscriber, I'm sure, but the playlists actually has a playlist of videos that I've chatted about in previous streams. So there's there's a fabric that I have right now that is all retro and vintage vending machines, and my husband was watching a video by like vloggers over there that travel around Japan to do stuff, and it turns out that these were actual vintage vending machines. Now the part we wonder is, were these vending machines, like, were they drawing specifically from this like vending machine village, or were they like just nostalgia drawings? Anyway, so there's that. What else have I've been watching some Tokyo Lens. He went and walked Tokyo between midnight and like 4 a.m., which is super cool. And now something I never knew I wanted to do is like on the list. I really want to go do that in like Kyoto or Osaka. It'd be really cool to start at like Fushimi Inari around like 10 or 11 o'clock at night, and then just walk through Kyoto back towards the station or something like that. I think that would be really cool. And then what else? I don't know. I've been listening to a lot of audiobooks, obviously. We've done the Vampire Knitting Club on a suggestion from a viewer, which is awesome. I've been enjoying it. It's just fluffy, which is fine. The main could have a bit more confidence. She feels like she was written in like 2012 for some reason to me, but she was written in like 2018, 2019. At least that's when the books were published. Maybe she was written in 2012. But it just strikes me as like that kind of era of heroine. But it's the least. I've definitely listened to worse, so I'm not going to worry about it. Yeah, I honestly would not probably buy. Okay, that's a lie. I would buy food from a vending machine in Japan, but I would buy like cup noodle or something like that. There was actually, why I say that is because there was actually a cup noodle vending machine at Kansai Gaidai when I was there as an exchange student, hot dog one, no. And like they're trying like the fried food ones and stuff like that, and I'm like, gross. I'm like, and then they're complaining about it. I'm like, well, what do you expect out of a vending machine, even if it is Japan? That is the one thing that bothered me about that video from the, I think it was like, it was Chris Abroad and Connor, and I usually don't mind them. They're not like, they're decent vloggers, but yeah, it was like, you went and you got like, yeah, the curry one seemed like it was, but it was like the karage and all of those ones. And it's just like, what, like, no, what do you expect from a vending machine? What do you expect from fried goods from a vending machine? Ugh. Although now I do kind of want to go, yeah, that's the one. So I found a bunch afterwards. I don't know, I never knew that this was a thing until we watched that one specifically, the Chris Abroad one. And, then when I was like scrolling through because I was trying to find it to put in the playlist, I realized that there was a bunch of other ones, and there was a bunch of the other like vending machines that are on the fabric. Let me see, I think I've got a piece right here. Yeah, I do. So this is the fabric, and it's like, it's super cute. I picked it up because it's just like super cute. Got a few different colorways of it, so like this is maybe not the best one to like show it off. But like the miso soup was one that I saw on that one. What was the one that I saw that was like, oh my goodness, that is, it like triggered me thinking about this fabric. I think it was the miso or the soba one. Here, I'm gonna fold it in half just because so it's easier to look at. There's the French toast. Oh, the hayatsu raisu. This one, which I think was the curry rice. Hayatsu raisu. And so it looks exactly, and this isn't the right colorway for it, but one of the other ones I was like, that I have looks almost exactly like the machine that was even there. So that tells me that it probably is paying homage to it. Pretty sure there's like this cheeseburger one was there as well. I personally didn't watch the video. I just caught snatches of it while Dallas was watching it. And then this natural, there's one that was a little bit better on the other. I think the design on a couple of the other colorways are just a tiny bit different. But yeah, this, they call it soup noodle on here, obviously, for copyright reasons. But this cup noodle, or soup noodle, is 100% this cup noodle that I had at my university in Osaka. So. It must be paying homage. I can't think of any. It's such a random thing. It's just so random that it like, I never knew about it, and then suddenly I bought the fabric, and then I'm hearing about it like, what is it? This was August. So 9 months later. Now I understand Japan has a lot of stuff I've never seen, but still, this seems extremely random to just suddenly pop into like the social consciousness. But that means that those guys are doing a really good job of like promoting Japan and tourism to Japan. So, you know, because now I want to go even if I wouldn't eat most of what they ate. Oh, that one needs a dark tab. So, right, and all the penguins are gonna get black pull tabs as well, just because they're penguins. So it's like a lighter fabric, and then we'll put a black tab with it, and it'll just look very classy because it's penguins, black and white. Sorry, I already said that on the other stream, but yeah, I cut that stream off, so may as well repeat. It's worth repeating here. Yeah, it's that factor too. I told my friend she's got a Honda Civic, and it's a blue Honda Civic, which like I'd never seen that color of Honda Civic before. And I like, once I became conscious of it, and I said this to her, that's the only color of Honda Civic that I now notice. I know there's other Honda Civics on the road, but like that is the color that I see everywhere. Alright. But yeah, the other guy I'm watching is Tokyo Lens. It's Norma Nakamura. And he's been doing like, apparently his big thing is doing tiny apartment tours in Tokyo and stuff like that. And that's how I actually stumbled on him, is the under the railway apartments, which is really cool. But the ones I've enjoyed the most have been him like walking around in the nighttime. So like he did Tokyo overnight, which is really cool. Where did he walk from? He walked from Shibuya, I think. Shibuya to Akihabara. I think that sounds right. I think that's far enough apart to make sense for the timing. I know he ended in Akihabara for sure. But yeah, it was like really cool, and he had some really good observations of like, when you consider the population basis in Tokyo, just how quiet the city gets at night. Yes, there was one that was a really old, tall building, and it was like, it was $100 a month. The ones I'm thinking of, though, they it's actually an initiative by JR Rail to put up, to use their under station space. And so it's like 70 to 90,000 yen per month, which is so $700 to $900, even Canadian. I think even less in USD. And they're built under the train tracks. They're very new. And like, it was just, it's such a good idea because there's so much under station stuff as it is anyway in that culture that why not, right? And apparently they're really, like, as long as you soundproof them properly and stuff like that, and apparently they are soundproofed really well. So it's just really cool to see that, how they're utilizing those smaller spaces. And then there's other ones where it's like, that is pretty extreme, but just not what I would personally choose. Although considering the cost of them, like, so the ones that are built under the rail station, the other part of this is not all of them have kitchens, which honestly I feel like there is a lot of like convenience eating in Japan, and like healthier convenience eating than we can get here. So like, you can go into 7-Eleven and get like a extremely decent salad for a not very much money. But these ones that are under the rail, because they are targeted towards a student group, actually include like their meals and everything like that, and they're all like supposed to be nutritionally balanced and stuff. And I'm like, that is actually awesome. So it's kind of, they've almost built it like, I don't think they're restricted to students, but it's built like as a non-university dorm almost. Yes. Yeah, there are some really cute little nooks. There hasn't been one that I would personally like live in myself, but I haven't watched a lot of those videos either. The other thing I was shocked at is that like, for the price and how limited the space was, most or the majority of them still also included like in-suite laundry, which like, or at least the washing machine, which is normal that you wouldn't have a dryer there, just air dry. But it's like it's hard, like, it's so hard to find in-suite laundry in Canada even. At least it was in Calgary when we were looking. It was like super rare. And like, laundromats are also still fairly easy to find over there as well. So it's just like, I don't know. It's nuts. But anyway, I was enjoying watching his videos. He also had to like leave Japan and then come back and do one of the government mandated quarantine hotels because it was 2021. And it looked pretty horrendous. So, yeah. Not envious of having to have done that experience for him. It's cool that he documented it though. Penguins. We're almost through all the penguins. There are a lot of penguins. There are triangle pouches in every single penguin colorway I have or had, because Paula has used up almost all of the, actually, yeah, basically all the usable blue and all the usable green are going into her order. So thanks, Paula. That cleared up a lot of space on my shelves. How did the store do? So I actually, surprisingly, for fabric, I did extremely well. I had accidentally pandemic proofed myself, which means that in normal circumstances I had way too much fabric. But in this case, it worked out in my favor. And then because I was able to shift to doing virtual events quite quickly, I did actually do very well. Or at least I stayed where I needed to stay. One moment. Apparently the video is stopped. The phone does not like doing the video. There we go. Sometimes the communication just stops. Okay. Anyway, the store did it did decent, all things considered. I still sell the most at shows, so that definitely, took a beating. But we're still here. And actually, I came at a shockingly good time because my firstborn was born in May 2020, which absolutely sucked as a first-time parent. Worst, would not recommend. And then we decided to have an Irish twin the next year. They're 11 months apart, and we're done having kids. Dark. But it did allow me to have a bit of a pause, a better pause than I was anticipating actually after having my first. So, because I didn't have to prep for any big shows or anything like that. Whereas if it'd been a normal year, I would have been prepping for Knit City all that first summer. And I still did quite a bit because Knit City did a virtual event that year, but yeah. Alright. Dark up here. Yeah, and I know that is not the case for a lot of makers. So I'm very glad that it, for everyone's support over the pandemic, for sure. And now as well. Especially as it's like, the pandemic's not over, really. And there's a lot of, lot higher expenses now. We are now religiously using, our Costco membership, that's for sure. Even if there's some sticker shock over those bills, at least it keeps you fed for a few weeks at a time instead of just 1 week at a time. And my youngest is hungry all the time. So, although that's slowed down a bit because I think they've hit a point where they've done their explosive growth, and now it's chilled out a little bit. They're definitely hungrier than the eldest, though, so. Alright, so now we're gonna go in and count how many we have of each color that we need to cut, and then we'll see where my energy levels are right after that and see what we can accomplish tonight, because it's also almost midnight. Alright, so let's do the light ones first since I've got the last bag on my lap right now. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So I've got 16 light. 16 light. We're going to write that down or else I will forget. 16 light tabs. Yeah, the ridiculous part about the COVID thing was actually when we went to go out to do Knit City Mini in 21. I was all ready. We were packed, but we decided to go on family vacation first, and that's fine. But 2.5 hours on the island, and I broke my ankle. We had a 4.5-month-old because our second was born in 21, and they were teething. They were too young to hold anything to their mouth, and I broke my ankle 2.5 hours into our first family, like proper family vacation. I was so pissed. So pissed. And it was painful. I've never actually broken a bone before that point. And yeah, not fun. It was also not fun, like, thinking about going into a hospital, like, labor and delivery is different because it's separated from, like, kind of the more general hospital. But, like, going into, like, ER during COVID, I was like, oh. We avoided it for a couple hours because we thought it might have just been a really bad sprain, but it just, I knew when I stood up it was not. It was kind of like, well, let's pretend for a little bit and see if something changes. The really funny part about that is when I actually did get it x-rayed, they said that there's another ossification, and I'm pretty which means that there's probably been another break. I'm pretty sure I know when that happened. That was also out in Victoria in, like, 2019. I was running and I twisted my ankle really badly on one of the trails. I just stepped over the edge and it just went. And it was definitely sprained, but given that they say that there's an ossification, I'm pretty sure now that it broke. Which, yay, I walked around on a broken ankle for that trip. It would explain a lot, actually. So, alright, so we had 16 light, and then we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, we got 38 black tabs to cut. 38 black tabs. Tags. We don't have tags to cut. Okay, so let's start with the light because why not? It really doesn't matter. Got to do them all anyway. So what I'll do is I'll go through it and I will cut the full length of it, and then I go through and I cut the half length of it because in my head that is less work. I don't think it actually is. It kind of is, but it's not as much less work as my brain thinks it is. It's just a trick. So I'll cut one for like a measuring, and then we'll just go from there. Lots of time I'll do the fold over method, and actually that's what we're going to do here. So I need 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm sorry for any knitters that have joined me with the counting. I hope you're not doing anything complicated. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So the plan right now is that I will get these done tomorrow, very likely off camera so that I can do it while kiddos are awake and around. I do not live stream with the kiddos in the room. Just because we're usually doing TV daycare as well. And then tomorrow night we will begin. If I don't finish them tomorrow, then we'll be working on these tomorrow night. And whenever we wrap on those, I'll get going on the Kato bags. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Alright, 6 more. 2, 11, 12, 13, 14, 16, 11, 12, 13, I'm gonna cut one more just for insurance. Just gotta make sure. 16. I am super excited to be coming out to Vancouver for Knit City though. I still like Knit City Vancouver is one of my favorite events of the year, and it's the one that I've been doing the longest now, except for, so I missed 2020. Obviously everyone missed 2020, but I missed 2021. So except for that year, I've been going for the last like 8 years. So I'm quite pleased with that. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. All right. So there's the light ones cut. Just wind this back up so that it doesn't become a spaghetti monster like everything else in this studio. Nice pin. These are all I use the bent pins and stuff like that I bend while I sew. Although I am not using a lot of pins anymore these days. I'm mostly using clips, so I do not constantly bleed. There's been so much less blood this summer. I approve of the lessening of the bloodletting. Oops. Alright. So we need 38 black pull tabs. 38. Yeah, so actually I was just reading over that how did my shop fare over COVID thing, and it just reminded me that last year at about this time I was like desperately watching because there was rumors that they would be reopening Japan very soon, and then when I was at Knit City they made the announcement that Japan would be opening to like general public as long as you were triple vaxxed. But it would be opening to tourists like October 10th. So it was like I was standing at Knit City when I read this. I was very, very, very happy because I'd just been pushing dates out until I could like go basically. So I got home and made sure that my mother-in-law could look after my kiddos the day that I needed to fly out because they needed care because my husband was like literally flying in from work as I left. I was flying to Japan when he was flying home, sort of thing. Blood, sweat, and tears. Yeah, I'll keep the blood out of them now, at least in general. But yeah, no, I remember that, like, yes, I can go back to Japan. Booked the flights, made sure that my hotel rooms like lined up with what I needed to do. And then when I went to go in November, there'd been all the tensions on the Korean peninsula, which was lovely because that also affects Japan. They go into higher alert. So like the first, like the 2 weeks right before I went, the Air Canada flight from Vancouver into Tokyo was late. Significantly late. It was like, I think that it was running like 1 to 2 hours late pretty much every day, which typically happens when they have to like do a lower elevation or a little bit slower speed or just a whole bunch of stuff, whatever considerations they need to do that like slow you down that much. So it was like I was like looking at, because usually the thing is you land in Tokyo, or at least for me, I land in Tokyo and then I get on the train and we just go straight down to Kyoto, and that had been the plan. But I was like watching it, I lucked out. I got through Narita in 45 minutes. So Vancouver to Japan is about 10 hours out, 9 hours back, which ridiculously enough, if you can get it direct from Calgary to Japan, it's the same length. And WestJet is now offering direct from Calgary to Tokyo again. Air Canada used to, But obviously they stopped over the pandemic, and they've made no motion to bring it back. So WestJet's kind of picked it up. It's their first Asian airport. That's them specifically, and they fly the Dreamliner, which is my favorite. It's my favorite plane in the Boeing fleet. So yeah, so like in November it was, that wasn't on the horizon, so it was Calgary, Van, Tokyo. Which the biggest thing I have against flying out through Vancouver, it is usually cheaper, but customs can be a biatch to deal with on the way back, because it's like you're coming in with commercial goods. I think I nearly gave the CBSA agent a heart attack when I came back in May, because I was bringing so much fabric in with me, and you get a different answer every single time about what you're supposed to do. So like I'm registered. I know I have to pay GST on my fabric, but it's kind of like the roulette that you pay when you get something shipped into Canada as well. Of like, will you pay taxes and duties on it, or like whatever you need to pay on it, or are they just gonna wave it through? And lots of times I get waved through, but occasionally I get a prickly border service agent there. Last couple times it's been fine. The first time it was like, if you are over this amount, then you'll have to go through the commercial building instead, and I'm like, well, I've got a flight to catch. So she did that. She just did my payment in petty cash, I think, kind of idea. But like I said, it's been different every single time I've gone through. And Calgary is just easier to deal with, because then you end up not having, like, I get it. Vancouver is a port. Everything comes through Vancouver on that side. For this side, basically, as much as it can. And so I get it. Like, they're set up for that sort of thing, just not in the commercial wing necessarily. But in Calgary, they are. So it's like you can just go do all your form fill-outs and everything right there. So that, for me, that's the benefit to flying direct. Sorry, the little heart is like covering up the text. Let me scroll it down. So you don't actually pay duty on the fabric, at least not the stuff I bring back from Japan. It's GST, so it's a 5% tax. Same, like it's the goods and services tax. That's all I pay. And like, so when I'm doing it, when I go up and I tell them, so you always have to fill out like your customs and declaration form, and I tell them that like, so this time I found out apparently I'm supposed to be putting the like actual declaration as everything that I purchased while I was there, and then I can be like, I have commercial goods, and they'll separate those out, which is so counterintuitive, because it shouldn't fall under your personal exemption. Whatever, that was one of the things where I'm like, well, this is like completely different from what I've been told the other 6 times. Sorry, my brain's still broken about that one. Anyway, what I typically do is that, of course, I've done my own personal exemption, and then I'll say that I'll have commercial goods, and then I'll tell them the amount that I have. And of course, I've got all the receipts to back it up and everything like that. The credit card's already done the exchange rate, so if they need to see that, they can, sort of thing, and all that. And then, so I just tell them however much it is, and then they go, okay. Sometimes they go, okay, you're going to go down and pay it at the, like, little kiosk in Vancouver. And sometimes they go, okay, whatever, go through. Like, that's what I mean. Like, it's just, it's super hit or miss. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 27. Although the first time someone actually took one of the bags that had my fabric in it. They like took it because they thought it was theirs. They assumed it was theirs. I don't know how they thought it was theirs, because theirs was like covered in ribbon and like tags, and like, yes, they were both navy, but they were not the same suitcase. So I was just like, I might need that for customs. So they tracked it down and they put a hold on it and everything like that. So that was good. Now, the nice thing is that Air Canada just moves your bags over, so there's no worry unless unless customs actually wants to see your bags, and then they'll put a stop on it and pull it and all of that. But otherwise, it just goes through, which is amazing. I don't remember how many I actually have there, so let's do 10 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh my god. Well, and then actually when I came back in November, I borrowed my sister-in-law's, so basically what I did in November is it's like I did 3 bags. I paid for an extra bag coming home, and then all of my like clothes and that was packed in a carry-on suitcase that I borrowed from my sister-in-law, and it was silver. And when we got back to Calgary, they picked up her suitcase, which A, was extremely heavy because it had a bunch of kids' books in it, and B, his had like a massive fragile sticker on it. And so it's just like, how do you even manage it? Yeah, and like, why would you also open up your bag in the middle of like the luggage carousel? That's the other thing. What do you, like, you're supposed to pack your essential items in your carry-on. I don't know. A, gross. B, that's odd behavior anyway. And as soon as you start picking through it, you should be able to tell it's not yours. I don't know. All things considered, November went extremely smoothly. It was also my first trip abroad, like internationally abroad by myself since my exchange. So I was quite proud of myself that like I did not have a major meltdown in the middle of the airport. All that. And yeah, no, it was a good trip. It was 4.5 days on the ground in Tokyo. It's just in Japan. It was very fast, but it was really good. It was also a nice like reacquaintance, a very good immersion in the language for me. I'd actually done like 3 years of study prior to that again. So I think I've been studying Japanese for well over a decade at this point. Do I have the skills to show for it? Yes? No? I can't tell. But since I wasn't speaking English to anyone in November, it was like really easy to get immersed into it. Alright, we are at the point where I will probably cut all of these down into their halves for the bags. Like, and then I'll stop. But maybe we'll pin in the light ones because there's only 16 of them to do. Only. And the kids haven't woken up yet, so I may as well take advantage of them not being awake yet. Alright. Yeah, I'll do that. I'll work until 12:30, or we get the light ribbon tabs pinned in, or clipped in. Whichever comes first. Black, we're just going to ignore those till tomorrow. They can wait. Could be better, could be worse. I'm not actually doing any formal classes right now. I'm not doing any learning right now. I have not had, like, the most mental capacity I've had from anything really is the sewing and audiobooks outside of the kids. And I don't know if that's like a mom thing. I think I'm mostly blaming the kids for it, of just this like complete kind of focus in. It makes sense biologically, makes sense for them too, just in general, but like I haven't had the mental capacity to study Japanese. When I get back to it, the main thing that I'm missing at this point is realistically my grammar is good enough to get by, but what I'm missing is vocabulary. So I use a kanji learning program called WaniKani, which has been really good for me in the past. And so basically what I'm going to do when I restart is I'm going to go back and use that to help learn more vocab. So, because because it is something I want to maintain as best as possible. It'll be really good for the kids. But yeah, it's just like I just haven't had the mental capacity to do it for a while. I did actually because we went virtual, I finished off my year for 2020, and then I actually did do a second year right after our firstborn. So I was like, hey, it's still virtual learning, I may as well. It's only one night a week, so no big deal. It definitely got tougher towards the end of the year, just because they started to need more attention and stuff like that. But it still worked, and those classes did pay off for going. I was a lot more. It was just I was more confident in speaking it when I was actually in Japan. So I feel like one of the things I always noticed when I was there originally is that there would be a lot of panic when you started speaking Japanese to them, to like a desk clerk or just in general. And it's like, and they'd be like super apologetic that's like, well, we don't have anyone who speaks English and all this, and I'm like, well, like, I have enough Japanese that, like, as long as we don't panic and you need to speak slowly to me, and like I'm a kindergartner, because that's how bad that's where my vocab level is at, not how bad it is, that's just where it's at. Like, if we do those two things, it'll be fine. Like, really it will be. But they would panic, and that's one big thing that I noticed that was different the last couple of trips, is that there was not as much panic that they didn't have an English speaker, which was a really nice change. So I appreciated it, because, like, yeah, I typically can get by well enough, usually 95% of the time, 90% of the time, somewhere in there. But I do really need to do some more vocab learning. So, but that I think is true of any language. It's the vocab that gets you. Because I don't need to learn business Japanese. I don't need to learn super formal Japanese. I just need Japanese to get by on. So, being able to read a bit more and understand a bit more would be nice. Clipping it. Alright. That one's gone until after Knit City as well. There's like a clip graveyard down there. It's probably about a dozen clips down there right now. Okay, there we go. So we're going to take this. Like this. So what this does, folding your zipper in makes it a nice finish. You're less, like, it just looks better usually on the outside. So I've always, as soon as I heard that tip, I should always fold my zipper in. Makes it easier to sew too when it's like lying flat like this, and it typically doesn't go quite as like wonky. Oh yeah, no, they're gone forever. As long as I don't step on them, I can retrieve them. That one is in. Put in the care tag on the other side. There's like a giant bar though that holds the actual sewing machine pedal, and that is actually where they go to die, because it's like, I should just take my yardstick under there and sweep it. It's like cat toys. But, yeah, that's where they usually go to die. If they end up in this general morass at my feet, they'll eventually get retrieved, but go under the sewing machine? Mm-mm. Alright. Basically what I'm doing right now is I'm going to finger press in the actual crease, and then that'll tell me where we need to actually fold it, so that the front of the actual bag is like even. and properly dispersed between on the right and left side of the zipper. I used to just guess it, especially on the like box bags, and then realized the error of my ways, and then I started actually measuring it with a measuring, like my cutting ruler, and that was more accurate, but way more time consuming. So typically when I iron a bag now, I press in a seam, like a fold seam into it, so that I don't have to do like super precise measuring of the fabric, because of course it always shifts when you're sewing anyway. So haha. Okay, there we go. Very glad to see that they still have this strawberry and beads fabric, because it has been super popular, always has been before this as well, because it's so cute. I should have apparently bought more, but I don't know if I actually saw it in May. So, oh well, live and learn. If I see it again next trip, we'll get more then. I might have been off on my counts actually, so we'll see if we've got enough ribbon or not. At least that's easy enough to fix, but I do think I was off on my counts. Oh well. There. So the nice thing is that as much as this is kind of the slowdown point for the triangle pouches, to finish this, it's literally 2 seams before it gets turned. It gets turned and it gets its finishing seam. Love it. So many of the bags have so many moving parts that it's just like, it's nice to have simple bags like this once in a while. A nice palette cleanser, especially when it's like production sewing time. Okay, here we go. Clip it right there. Ooh, from like the May trip or from the November trip? It really doesn't matter. Those are both tough ones. I bought some fabric for my eldest that is probably my absolute favorite that I've seen in a really long time. It's like itty bitty like calico critters almost, with like bookshops and stuff like that. Oh my goodness. Oh, that the collab cam. It keeps dropping the connection. Okay, there we go. So that's probably one of my favorites that I've seen in a while. But for like a business fabric, so one of the problems is that I buy a lot of fabric. Typically I also do like a full overview haul video, but I did do that, and then I realized that it was an absolutely terrible angle, so I'm gonna have to refilm it actually. So that's why I was like, earlier in the summer I was promising to do it, and I was just like, didn't happen. But yes, actually, let me grab it. I know exactly where it is. I think I know which one I like the best. I know which one I like the best, and then I'm gonna go grab 2. Okay, so I think this is the one I like the best, actually. This is from May. The print is massive, to be honest, so it's not very practical for a lot of the bags, but it is, like, the color on the background is really amazing. I love the details in the background, which you can't see because it's too far away. So there's these really subtle details. All of these that are kind of showing up yellow on the camera, oh, the micro are gorgeous, but they're also like all highlighted in that really good shimmery gold that Japan does. So like I really like this one. They are huge though, so these are really only going to show up, like, that's 7 inches. My thumb to my index finger is about 7 inches. So like absolutely spectacular, pretty and practical, but they are gorgeous. So I think that's my favorite one for like in the last little bit. But then this is also a very good contender. They were right on top of each other. And then all these flowers are actually that shimmer gold as well. I really like this like dark teal behind right now, and this color palette is really good. Yeah, the micro will be pretty much just for big bags, and I'll do like, so they're the tote size, and then I'll probably also do luxe tote bags out of them as well that are like, basically they're an elevated big bag, so they'll have leather handles and stuff like that. And then that chrysanthemum one will be like for like pretty much everything. Maybe not, oops. Maybe not big bags. Sometimes the little prints like that can be really overwhelming. Although I am changing up the big bags. So the big bags are going to start having a canvas bottom. And that will help bring the focus into the fabric a little bit better. So it won't, those chrysanthemums won't overwhelm like they would right now if you were just to make a tote bag out of them. Oh yeah, they'll be coming up, and like I will be doing a better job of actually advertising it on social media as we go. And obviously I'm pretty sure I'm going to keep up these streams even outside of show season. I'll probably divide, like, oh, this is a lot of video content to watch, but then I can divide up the video content maybe like by show and then outside of show stuff. So they won't be larger, they're going to be the same size, but what it's going to happen is there'll be a canvas band, I guess, at the bottom, kind of like the Kato are right now. But what it does is it means that the bottom will be a lot sturdier than it is right now, and it actually, the fabric doesn't disappear into the background as badly as it does right now. And not that it does it really right now if you look at it, but the canvas highlights the fabric better. I'll clip this and I'll see if I can actually do like a share screen to show you what I mean. I think I should be able to share a screen on this program. And if not, we'll just throw the image in. So give me one moment and I'll find it here. But yeah, I was, when I originally designed the big bags, I was very resistant to doing canvas bottoms. Mostly because I didn't know what I was doing. Partly because, I didn't have the equipment to do stuff like fusible interfacings and stuff like that. And adding a canvas bottom to a really lightweight fabric is going to make it slump. Yes, I do have to coordinate the canvas colors as well. But I have a plan for that to like reduce the strain of it. Basically, it's going to be all darker colors, so it'll be black, navy. I'm going to add a navy and I'm going to add a brown. So a little bit warmer color. A navy for those like blue fabrics where it's like black is too stark and gray just, it doesn't match because of the undertones of the gray. And then brown for those ones where it needs to be like, sorry, I'm just trying to see. Okay, we're going to add an image. Add source. Add a new source. But yeah, adding a brown will just mean that like I'll be able to actually, okay, I see what I need to do. The words. it'll just coordinate better with some of the fabrics than like a black will. Like, so like with this, like the cats are back in town, a dark brown is going to look really nice with this versus like a black I think when we're doing, when I'm doing the kato for this, I've got the charcoal. It looks fine, but like the zipper on this is a dark brown zipper, and the brown canvas would match with this really nice. It would warm it up instead of kind of cooling it down, like it sometimes happens with the oh my goodness, the words. Yeah, it'll warm it up instead of cooling it down like it can happen with the charcoal. Here we go. Hey, that wasn't even that far back. Sweet. Yeah, no, the two big hesitations that I had when I was doing it was like, it's extra work to add the canvas bottom. And I didn't have the proper equipment to be able to fuse fusible interfacing to the upper to give it the proper body that it would need to like stand up against the canvas, because if you put a light cotton fabric on top of canvas, it's going to not work. With the chrysanthemum, navy, probably navy. Same as actually the mica would probably be navy as well. You could go, because there's actually navy in these flowers right here. And you don't want to go too light with your canvas colors on the bottom of the bag, because otherwise they're going to get dirty, just like the bag will. Now, it'll still all be machine washable in the big bags, but yeah. And actually even here I would probably pick up the navy that's in the umbrellas for the myco fabric as well. You could go with black too. Honestly, you probably could. I would probably do both. Just because people like different colors. Sorry, I do actually have the photo here. I just gotta get up on the screen. That's it right there. Okay, there we go. So now I can add it. Done. It is way too large. One moment. It's of course on top of everything. Okay. Sorry, I'm still learning this program, so it's like, let's shrink this way down. I could have done the studio view too, but here, come struggle with me. So this was actually the reason that this even started, is because someone wanted this. They had this fabric with the sassy cat on top, but they didn't want to use the bag because it's too light a fabric, and that's fair, even with the machine washability. So she requested, what could we do? And so this is what happened. So we've got that black bottom on the bag now, and so that's what the oh, can you actually see that? It should be showing up. Yeah, and so what it does too is it does pull that, like it highlights the sassy cat fabric better than not having it. So that's why we're gonna go with the canvas bottoms from now on, because it does focus it in better. All right, let's get that out of there. So yeah, so I'll be moving towards doing those bottoms. Yeah, and that would be a really good combo too. It does make it really durable, and so the canvas should actually elevate the durability of it. Although I've never had a problem with it really on the bags, it should actually elevate it. My machine can't handle actually sewing any leather, so, or not a lot of leather in any layers, so we're not going to destroy my machine, and we're going to stick with canvas. And yes, that'll be the standard going forward. I did just do a huge push on big bags for City in August, so these new, like the ones with the actual canvas bottom, won't be hitting until after Knit City at this point, but going forward they'll all have canvas bottoms. I'm really annoyed that I didn't do it before, and like that I won't have them for Knit City, but I'm just like, there's no way right now. Oops. Okay, that can't stay down there. Alright, so you already saw pictures of it as weird. My stream is extremely delayed then right now, which is interesting. Because it is just showing the actual big bag photos right now. Honestly, the big bag is like such a good bag. It's super versatile. I always say if you're doing like a lot, it's a good one no matter what size you knit. And or as a storage bag for all the whips from your smaller bags. That's usually what I encourage. Okay. Scoot in, please. Thank you. But yes, it will mean that there will be a little bit more coordination effort on the fabric, but I think it is well worth it at this point. And once I actually start production on the like bags, I will probably open up those like pick your own orders as well, and then I'll be able to add that canvas color in so that you can make those selections too. I am thinking if anyone is attending Knit City Vancouver, if that's why you're here, I am leaning towards actually bringing a pick your own selection of the fabrics from November, which will mean that you can go through and like, the only thing I don't think I'll bring is zippers, because zippers at a show would be a nightmare. That's something that we can always talk about later, after the purchase sort of thing, when I get home and have my whole zipper stash available to me, and then I can like lay them out and send photos. But otherwise it's like you'll be able to choose your exterior, your lining. If you're getting a big bag, you can do the like webbing color. If you're doing a kato, you can do the canvas and leather color, all of that. So I figured that that's something I will bring along as well, if it's something you're interested in coming by to pursue. Alright, we are not going to finish up these ribbons, but I think that was a far better demonstration of stuff to be able to get a photo of the tote bag up. Also nice to know that I can do that on stream fairly rapidly. Yeah, it's not something that I've done very often, but I figured something that like, now I've figured out like an ability or a way to do it on Shopify. That was one of the things that was holding me up, is finding a way to actually be able to allow people to do personalization and stuff. But I've found something that I'm pretty satisfied with at this point, at least. Alright, yeah, we are going to be wrapping up at 12:30 tonight. I will not get all these pinned in, like I said, but that's okay. I will be back on tomorrow, probably hopefully the latest of about 9:30, 10 o'clock. If you have any questions, easiest way to get a hold of me is either you can comment below this actual live, or you can DM me on Instagram. And actually it's directly through my own site, so it's ateliernekozuki.com. I'll type that in the chat because spelling it is a little bit of a chore. So it's ateliernekozuki.com, and that is all the current ready to ship items, and then anything that's left over after Knit City will be posted in early October. Finish up I think I'll finish up one more triangle pouch here, and then we'll head out for the night. But yeah, follow me on Instagram, or subscribe here. You'll know when I'm on here. Instagram, I always post the link as well. And then that's where I post when I'm actually going live, because it varies right now with kiddos. Just depending on when they get to sleep and when I kind of transition out of putting them to bed. It's actually the bigger time suck right now. So hamsters, which are adorable. Avoid the little metal clip. There we go. Eek. And here as well. Yeah, I was on Etsy for the longest time, and it's a really good platform to start on. But the problem was that every time I went to a show, I had to shut the shop down, and I'd have to go through and take all the inventory that sold off of the site. It was a lot of like back and forth management and wasted a lot of time for me. So I shifted over to Shopify probably about 5 years ago now. Very happy with it so far. I know it has its problems, but I haven't encountered them myself. It seems like a place where it can scale really nicely as well. I'm really glad I got off Etsy when I did. I got off Etsy when they started allowing a lot more of the mass producers sell on there and wouldn't do anything about it. So I still think it's a really great concept, but I think it's become a lot more difficult for a lot of people to sell on. So I'm very glad that I established the website a while ago now. It is funny though, because about a year later they brought out, or not even a year, I think it was within months, they brought out an integration with Square actually. But I think Shopify is also a little bit more reliable of a payment processor than Square is at this point right now. Alright, I am going to call it quits 5 minutes early, but we've got a whole stack here of the light ones to finish up. Not too bad. Looks like we got through about half of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, we got through exactly half. Awesome. So I'm going to pop those in the clip bin here because that's what we'll finish in the morning. And then we will do the black ones that are all stacked behind me there. So thank you so much to everyone who joined me tonight. Awesome chat. I really appreciated that, and hopefully we can have another tomorrow night or sometime later in this week. So nope, not too distracting at all. I really appreciated having someone to chat at. Anyway, I hope you have a fantastic night, and I will see you chat with you all soon.